Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, Keawe, and Sugary peoples. We honor them. My name is Elaine Deck, and I will be the worship assistant this morning for the Reverend Dr. Amy Rio. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation, which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope that our religious values will challenge you to join us as a community who lives boldly and acts justly. To all of our visitors and our members, we're very glad you're here, whether in person or with us online, and we do hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. A few announcements for this Sunday. The Salisbury Women's Group will gather on Thursday, December 18th at 7 p.m. at John Calvin Presbyterian Church in Salisbury. We warmly welcome anyone who is non-binary or identifies as woman. Teresa R. will bring her guitar and lead us in singing holiday songs, some silly and some sweet. Let us all make some joyful noise together. Snacks will be provided. Please bring your own beverage and contact Tara or Lisa if you have questions at womensgroupsg@puuc.org. Mark your calendars for our annual Christmas Eve service of lessons and carols at 5 p.m. here at the University Gathering. If you're able, please bring a snack or Christmas cookies to share. For other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you're on our email list, please check our monthly newsletter or weekly announcements. May I ask Karen Haig to please come up to the pulpit? We here know Karen has been our president for the last year, and we want to give her a symbol of our gratitude for all that she has done. She's been a leader, as you know, of humor, of love, of inclusion, and organization like I've never seen. So we want to thank you for all you have given us. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
We choose to light our chalice each week, each time we gather for worship. We choose to bring light into the world too often filled with darkness. Our weekly practice of lighting our chalice is a weekly practice of choosing hope. I invite you now to please join me in singing the words to the lighting of our chalice, and they are found in your bulletin. I invite you to please rise in body or spirit for our call to worship. In times when despair feels reasonable and cynicism seems wise, we gather to practice radical hope, not passive waiting, but active defiance against forces that would diminish our humanity.
Together, we choose hope as resistance, imagination as rebellion, and love as our most revolutionary act.
Come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn is found in our gray hymnal, page 241 in the bleak midwinter. Please be seated. I invite any of our young ones to come forward for our time for all ages.
Welcome. So nice to see you all today. Do you remember me? Miss Jennifer? Nice to see everybody. Today we're going to read a story together, and we're going to talk about hope. Our story is A Flicker of Hope by Julian Cook and illustrated by Mackenzie Hensley.
Just keep giving me directions. We're good.
Okay. Do y'all mind come over here so you can see a little better? Nope, you're good. Have you ever felt like I do? My flame used to be bright and strong, but now it's just a flicker. Sad little candle. I have these dark clouds hovering over me, but they don't feel like clouds. To me, they feel like mountains. I try hard to push them away, but they keep coming back, and I'm so tired of trying. So let's look at her clouds. A D in math. Ooh. Did I make the team? Is my mom leaving? Am I good enough? Have you ever felt like that? No. You know, a brighter flame can lighten up those heavy clouds of yours. Then they'd be easier to push away. You can see them too, she asks. Nope. They're your clouds. Only you can see them. But I can tell you, your flame isn't very bright right now. How do you know? It's not the how I know that matters. It's what I know. Looks like you could use a little boost of hope. And then look, he shares his light. And the clouds become just a little less dark. How do you do that? Since you are standing right underneath your clouds, all you can see is the dark. They may seem impossible to move. But when you reach out for help, others can share their gifts with you. Amazing things can happen when we use our gifts. Gifts? What gifts? See? And then we have the gifts. We have art, sharing community, recycling. Your unique light is your precious gift. No one can light up the world around you like you can. Well, I can't light up anything around me right now. I don't have it in me. Why? Because I can't do anything right. I'm never going to be good enough. Who I want to be seems impossible. You see, she doesn't like her art, and maybe the kids at school aren't very nice. And you should hear what people say about me. Bad things? Awful things. Are they true? No, but they might as well be. Everyone thinks they are. Oh, and to top it all off, someone who really matters to me isn't here anymore. Today is just a really hard, and I don't see how tomorrow is going to be any better. In fact, it might even be worse. I'm running out of hope. Then let me give you another little boost. And wow, look how beautiful your light is. So what do you do? How do you give a little boost? Did he share his light? Yeah. When your clouds get too dark and too heavy to push away, reach out and ask, can I borrow some light? I'm having a really bad day. Hope builders are everywhere, but only you can see your clouds. So grab the courage and ask for help. And don't worry about being too proud. And it's always okay to admit to yourself, I just can't do it today. Everyone needs help sometimes to help them find their way. But what if they say no? Then you ask somebody else. You keep asking a bunch of different people until you find someone who says yes. Don't ever stop asking. You have to find a way to stay lit no matter what. Why? Why do I have to stay lit? Because if your flame goes out, you might not be able to relight it. And that would be the saddest thing ever. Why? Because you are needed. You are here for a reason. No one else in the world has a light just like you. Do y'all want to come back and read the rest of the story with me? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. At this time, we enter into our time for ritual and sacred sharing, time where we share joys and sorrows, concerns, and milestones. And so, as our children's story told us this morning, as we light these candles, we are lighting hope for those who need it and for ourselves. So we light a candle first for Lisa B. as part of our Salisbury gathering, who is recovering from knee replacement surgery, doing well, and she appreciates the support. For Susan B. with health concerns. for Tiffany, and I know y'all have not seen Tiffany here in worship in a little while because Tiffany has been finishing up her PhD, and she graduated yesterday from UNC Charlotte, and after long, many years of work. So she said she will be back soon, so now that she's not immersed in that. We light a candle for all those who've been impacted by the shootings over the weekend, especially with Brown University and in Australia with the beginning of the Hanukkah observance, which for tonight, here in this country with our time zone, the Hanukkah observance begins at sundown. And we will incorporate that into our own worship next Sunday. We light a candle for all who've been impacted by ICE raids and activity, and especially those here in this area, for safety for those being harmed, and for the remaining ones of us to be allies and support for people who are being targeted. For the immediate relief of the people of Gaza. For all areas of violence around the world, including Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, and the ongoing war in Ukraine. And for our country, that we might continue to hope and to work towards creating a society filled with love and compassion, empathy, civil rights, and justice for every single person. Now, at this time, you are invited to come forward as you feel called to do so. I invite you to come forward along the far wall. We have our prayer stand. You may fill out a prayer card and place it on the stand. You may light your own candle of joy or concern. You may place a stone in our shared water together. We now light a few more candles for the things we hold in our hearts which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. At this time, I invite us to enter into a time for quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. I will sound the singing bowl, and then during our time of silence, as we continue focusing on the theme of choosing hope this month, I invite you to slow your breath, get more fully into your seat, relax your shoulders, and to breathe in hope. As you breathe in, just think of the word hope, or maybe say to yourself, I choose hope. And as you slowly exhale, to exhale hope to those who are around us.
This morning's wisdom reading is entitled Active Hope by Joanna Macy. Active hope is not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by the Lone Ranger or by some savior. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forward. We've come a long way and are here to play our part. With active hope, we realize there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, and comrades to link arms with. Active hope is a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves and in others. A readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love. A readiness to discover the size and strength of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, our own love for life, the liveliness of our curiosity, the unsuspected, deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk.
Thank you. Now, I know that some of you have heard of John Wesley, who was an Anglican priest in the 1700s, a long time ago. So he's a very important figure in religious history over the centuries. He started a reform movement which grew into the Methodist Church, which globally became one of the largest denominations. Now, as a young Anglican priest in England, in 1720s, early 1730s, he had a great deal of certainty about what his calling was in life. He ended up going to the colony of Georgia, and he felt like he was going to have this great mission to the Indians, as he and others were calling them at that time. He never actually met anyone of Native American descent. Instead, everything that could have gone wrong did. It was disastrous. As someone who felt so certain that he knew the exact way to follow in the Anglican faith, we know how certainty like that what that can lead to. He ended up leaving in the middle of the night before he was literally tarred and feathered, and booked passage back to England. Now, on this trip where he felt, had the biggest crisis of his life, great despondency, there was a small group of Moravians. This is a very tiny denomination, and some of you may have heard of the Moravians because the largest pocket of Moravians in this country is in Winston-Salem. Old Salem is beautiful right now this time of year with lots of Christmas stuff if you want to go visit. So when Wesley returns and he starts serving as an Anglican priest again in London, and he has a real crisis of faith, feels no hope, he starts going to small group Moravian gatherings. And they really took this young man under their wings. One Moravian leader, Peter Bowler, gave this advice to Wesley: preach faith until you have it. Preach faith until you have it. Just keep practicing it, and the belief will come. Now, I and so many clergy I know have thought about this advice a lot over the years. Every time I stand up here to preach a sermon or stand up in our Salisbury worship space, as I did earlier today, I'm preaching first and foremost to myself. Okay? Everything that I'm sharing with you, it's right here to me as well. As we look at choosing hope as our theme throughout this month, in a time when choosing hope seems so very challenging, sharing words of hope with you. Even if I'm not quite certain I believe it right now, it helps me become more hopeful. So today, we are choosing hope until we actually have it. Now, our wisdom reading this morning comes from Joanna Macy, a well-known eco-philosopher and Buddhist scholar. She co-authored the book Active Hope with physician Chris Johnstone. And keep your eye on your emails and the January newsletter. I'm going to start having a book read for members with Active Hope where we can talk about it. Now, this book is a psychological and spiritual approach to how we can become more hopeful. Practice hope until you have it. Now, the book begins by stating there are 3 stories that people tell themselves about what is happening in the world. I think we all know, this thing up here, this brain, we tell ourselves stories all the time, right? Lots of stories. And certainly as we are trying to engage in a challenging world, there are 3 primary ways that we're telling our stories about how we can deal with that. So this first group that Macy points out, the story they tell themselves is just going about business as usual, right? Just going to go to my job, take care of the basic things, kind of ignore what's going on. I can't do anything anyway, business as usual. The second group believes that we are in a great unraveling. Think about your favorite sweater, perhaps, when the yarn starts to unravel and it just starts to make a big mess and it almost disintegrates sometimes, unless you can ask Connie to help fix it for you, which I have done in the past. Connie, our wonderful knitter. And certainly such a symbol for hope for me. The third story that people tell themselves is that we are in the great turning. This is when we recognize the great upheaval, this great upheaval, as a change in how we perceive the world, what we think about the world, and our values for how we live in this world. It is when we tell ourselves this story that in this great turning, we can help develop new economic and social structures for the benefit of all people. Now, things do fall apart. That's nothing that's new in history. But as things fall apart, sometimes we need that disintegration before we can rebuild for something better. I think anyone who has gone through a disintegration of their marriage, of someone they expected to spend the rest of their life with, and then the marriage disintegrated and divorce came. It's a great time of upheaval, but then out of that, something new can be birthed, something that feels more true and more honest to the person who's gone through that time. Now, I know that some of you practice tarot or are familiar with tarot decks, and one card, when I think about the great the great turning, one card that symbolizes that is the Tower card. The Tower card, depending on which deck you use, basically has a big tower, and it's on fire, and people are falling. It's chaos and destruction. And it's an opportunity in this huge upheaval taking place for something new to be born. The Tower card is not just upheaval. It's about what comes after that. Change and transformation. It is this third story that Macy talks about, the great turning. That is the one that is about active hope. Active hope. Now, Macy outlines how we can have practice active hope with 3 steps. The first is taking a clear view of reality, not having our head in the sand. Secondly, seeing the direction we'd like things to move in. And thirdly, taking concrete steps to help change things. So today we practice active hope, firstly by being realistic about the situation. We need our eyes open to know what is going on in the world around us. And we all know that sometimes that feels overwhelming and painful. Now, the challenge is, as we try to be aware of what's taking place in the world, the real problem is that many people can get stuck in this first step. We live in a society where news is non-stop. It's at our fingertips with our phone. I mean, we can listen, read. And there have been so many times I found myself in recent years reading or listening to the same story that I already know about, just from all these different perspectives. Sometimes that can be helpful, but sometimes I get stuck in that cycle. And that's what social media and the news wants us to do, because they make money that way. There are times I can spend a lot more time focusing on what is going on, trying to learn the information, instead of getting to the next 2 steps where I can choose hope. Now, we all know, and I've had lots of conversations with a number of you in this past year, that constantly exposing ourselves to the horrors of what is happening is not helpful to us mentally, emotionally, spiritually. As we try to be aware of what is going on, it's an individualistic thing to when we set those boundaries. So I'm not going to stand up here and say, no more than 2 hours a week or something. It varies from person to person, right? It's important for us to figure out what is our own tipping point. And it's going to vary. It's not always going to be the same. When is the place where we know enough to be aware of what is going on, and yet we're not continuing to kind of be immersed in that, where it's really hard to get to the next 2 steps and to be people of hope. So the first step, be clear about what is going on in our world. Secondly, see the direction we'd like to go in. Not just being stuck in this quicksand of awfulness that's taking place in our world, but looking at the direction we'd like to go in, being able to envision a better future. That's so important for us, being able to have that vision of what things could be. Now, that does come more easily to some of us than others. Some of us who really like to daydream, and this is where daydreaming can come into play, about what could the world look like? We can dream big about our hopes for others, for ourselves, and for the world. One of the best known examples of this vision for the future in a time which didn't seem to support that vision at all, is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, I Have a Dream speech. He had a dream, a beautiful dream, about a time to get past the awfuls of segregation and poverty. He integrated all those things in together. And he shared that in such a beautiful way, the most important sermon that's ever been preached in this country. For us to dream big. What would it look like if no one had medical debt? What would it look like if people could be safe and secure wherever they journeyed, no matter their skin color in this country? What would it look like if our water was clean and the ozone layer was healing? What would it look like? Now, one of the best books I've read in recent years about the environmental crisis is edited by Dr. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson. It's a collection of essays and poetry and art. It's entitled All We Can Save. All We Can Save. Now, as an environmental expert, she is well aware, far more so than any of us here, about the state of our environment. But instead of spending a book doomsaying about all the facts, she dares to dream, what if we get it right? And one of the most wonderful things about that book, it's certainly a diverse collection from many different people. It includes children dreaming about what the world could look like. What if we get it right? What could things look like? What does that vision give to us? To practice choosing hope, firstly, we have our eyes open to see what is taking place around us. Secondly, we dream of a better future. And thirdly, we take concrete steps. We take concrete steps. We take steps of hope, knowing that our actions, no matter how big or small, are making a difference in this world. And I have seen so many of you since I've been here take so many important actions that you might think are small, but there are no small steps when we are choosing hope and creating a better world. Now, public philosopher Amy Leask writes, there are so many ways to practice hope as a verb. If you are reaching out to your community, even in small ways, you hope. If you are reading to your child and talking to them like they're an intelligent being, you hope. If you are growing your own vegetables or sewing your own clothes, you hope. If you are supporting a local artist or business, you hope. If you teach or you heal, you hope. If you are slapping on a mask to go get groceries, you hope. If you are posting information or encouragement online, trolling doesn't count, you hope. If you're like me and you spend your time creating and sharing, you hope. If you got out of bed this morning and made something or did something, you hope. If you got out of bed this morning and came here to worship with your church family, you hope. Now, it helps give me hope, the way I have witnessed so many of you choosing hope, especially in this past year, protesting inhumane actions, providing support for people who are on the margins and being targeted in this society, calling our elected officials time and time again, making a donation to a helping agency, buying Christmas presents for a child who wouldn't have any otherwise, or filling out a prayer card, lighting a candle, placing a stone in our shared water. So many countless ways that I've witnessed and journeyed with you as you choose hope time and time again. Now, the practice of choosing hope is a practice. And I know that all of you have heard that old phrase, practice makes perfect, right? Now, this doesn't mean that we will always be hopeful, never have any doubts or moments. But it does mean the more we practice it, the more easily it will come. Practice hope until you have it. Blessed are those who practice choosing hope, for they are shining the light in a world that so badly needs it. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Thank you, Anne, for that very stirring Christmas medley. That was fun. Let there now be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us. For we are now the keepers of this dream and a community of memory and of hope. This month we're sharing our offering plate with Rowan Helping Ministries. Rowan Helping Ministries, now celebrating their 38th year, works to move people out of crisis, poverty, hunger, and homelessness in Rowan County. The organization was built and continues to thrive on the generosity of volunteers who give their time and talents and treasures. Our hosts will now pass our baskets, and we ask that you pass the baskets down the row when you receive them. You may place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room, or you're always welcome to give online at puuc.org or by texting the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for your generous gifts, gifts which enable us to continue to choose hope in this world. I invite you now to please rise in body or spirit for our next hymn. It's found in your gray hymnal, number 244. It came upon the midnight clear. we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who help make our service possible on Sunday. I also ask if you are able to leave your hymnals on the cart near the piano. That's also always a big help. So let's do as we do each Sunday and take a moment to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words, for what we are grateful for today.
I'm grateful for the fact that people still believe and still sing at Christmas.
That people still believe and still sing at Christmas, yes.
Grateful to Cosette and the rest of the Cups group for an excellent winter solstice celebration last night.
Yes, and that was on my list, so you beat me to it, Stephanie. Cosette, I know you're listening. We are so grateful to Cosette for her. She does these wonderful monthly cups rituals, and we had a wonderful, well-attended winter solstice ritual and covered dish last night, and so grateful for her leadership with that.
I'm grateful Alex is graduating from his MBA next week, so I'm so glad.
Oh, wonderful! Yay, Katie. So I thought it was in May, so I'm so glad to know that. So yes, Alex is graduating from his MBA in a few days. Yeah, next week. Okay, has been working so hard on that for everyone joining us virtually. So
For everyone who provided Giving Tree gifts.
Oh,
Yes.
you beat me. I was going to grateful for you. All you do, the Compassion Closet, and all the gifts of Christmas, and the many lives you touch.
yes. Oh, so for our online viewers, wonderful thanks and gratitude for Becky and everything that Becky does with her work with Compassion Closet and helping to, organizing this wonderful giving tree that we've had and the preschool has helped us with. And for all those who helped, took home a tag and bought some gifts for some people, some children who really need it. So we are so grateful for that.
For 5 years with Jeff. Wow.
Oh, congratulations, Jeff and Paula, 5 years together. That's wonderful. Yay. And of course, we are so grateful to see both of you after the recent surgeries. Y'all are moving and looking great. So, onwards and upwards. So, well,
Be reminded for the possibility of hope.
thank you for the possibility of hope. Yes. Well, we give thanks for all these things and so much more which we hold in our hearts this morning. As we go forth, let us make good choices, choosing hope and love each day. Amen. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in hope, believe in hope, create hope wherever we wander. May it be so. For our closing song, we form a circle. You may hold hands if you would like to, or you may simply place your hands on your heart.